Nice of you to drop in. You're back again for another episode on the More People podcast. I'm your host today, Andrew Fitzmaurice, joined today by one of my colleagues, Michail. Michail, brilliant to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, as ever, I guess we should start with a bit of an origin story into the world of recruitment. You've been here a little while now. How did you find yourself getting into recruitment in the first place?
It was a very interesting move, I would say. Getting into recruitment from retail was a completely different jump, but it has proven to be very beneficial for my career, but also very fun to be in. Great business that's growing every day, and also be involved with lovely people doing something that I always want to do, help people find their dream jobs.
And you're doing this now in the garden centre sector. So it's a space that we are known for doing, I think, in addition to food and agriculture. But can you tell us a bit more about what recruiting in garden centres actually means and looks like?
Working in garden centres is actually a very fun part of the business. The team of four now. It's a desk that's grown a lot over the years. I believe it was a single member team probably not too long ago. It's very unique. It's not your typical retail positions I recruit for. You try to find people where you can really tell that they're passionate about nature and about horticulture, and they look after sustainability and want to really make a difference and provide a lovely experience to people. I would say it has its own challenges, but also no 2 days are the same. We look after a variety of positions. We get to be involved with loads of businesses by going to meetings, by going to see them in person, try to understand how they operate day to day, and be part of those businesses to be able to assist them as good as possible here at MorePeople.
So this is working for some of the larger garden centre groups as well as the more established independent garden centres.
We work with the biggest garden centre groups. We work with bigger independents, with smaller independents. We cover a variety of business sizes, which makes the job more interesting and challenging at the same time. There is no typical role across businesses in garden centres. Each business they have their individual, unique, preference in terms of candidates and backgrounds that they're looking for to bring in terms of young talent or past experiences. With some groups, I guess it's one of those where they are a bit more heavily invested into, and they are in a position where they can bring in talent outside of garden centres, while we also recruit for businesses where they're really looking into maintain that old typical sort of garden centre style.
Would you say that your experience prior to working in recruitment in retail has helped? Do you have quite a lot of sympathy for the candidates who are coming from that world?
I think coming from retail, I do really understand some of their frustrations and also some of the challenges that they can face every day. I think retail on its own, it's a very unique, it's a unique sector to be in. And being able to understand the candidate when you're on the phone to them, but also really understand the client's needs when we try to get a job brief, for example, and really understand what they are looking for from a person has helped, because obviously I was in their shoes not long ago.
It's fair to say, it feels like from my perspective that you've fallen a bit in love with this sector.
Before I even joined MorePeople, I used to love going out to garden centres and spend a few hours, because they are a destination. There are places where you really go and spend a few hours with the family, have a cup of coffee and a cake, really, get to browse around no matter the time of year. They always ready to provide the customer experience. It's fun for all ages, in my opinion. I think back in the day, garden centres had that, idea of it's for the older generation, it's for people who are retired and, just have free time. But you get to see more and more younger people attending garden centres.
What has surprised you most about working in recruitment?
You really are as good as you want to be, in a way. The harder you try, the more you want to learn, the better you become. Very simply, in retail, I didn't have that opportunity. Yes, I did manage to get, promotions fairly quickly because of my hard work, but at the same time, you sort of have a limit, and then you don't really know what you can do, whether you have the opportunity. Well, here, it's a case of, just keep going again, keep learning, try to be the best version you can become, and then have a career. But I would say the biggest challenge is the ups and downs, that nobody can really prepare you as much as they might want to explain to you at the beginning, like, what you're going to find. But, one day you literally might think that you're best recruiter in the world. And then next day, imposter syndrome kicks in and you're literally the worst. So trying to deal with that, while obviously you want to keep doing your job at the best way possible and provide a high service, because we can't let our standards drop for a second, and obviously maintain a healthy family life, and not try to take everything at home. But also recruitment is a job where it's not 9 to 5. You might need to speak to people at 10 o'clock at night. You might need to come in like 2 hours early. I think finding the balance and really understanding what needs to be done, and also having the example from other people, was probably the one thing that I would say that made the biggest impact in me when I really sort of got my teeth into the job.
Whether it's a sector-oriented event or an internal MorePeople event or a particular project, a certain role or a certain client, what have you enjoyed? What initiatives and projects have you enjoyed the most in your time here?
I think one of the nicest things that we've been exposed to on our desks is that we get to really attend events in the garden center industry, and we get to spend time with people that we speak to every day. We really get to get involved and meet people in person. It's as much as it's nice to have a Teams call or a phone call, it's not the same like actually meeting someone face to face, old school. That's been very fun, being out on the road and just meeting different professionals across the country. Being here, this is another, I guess, lovely thing that is being done at MorePeople that we can really, really enjoy and be, I guess, grateful for. We have multiple possibilities on our desk and in the business where no 2 days are the same, no matter whether that's in the office or out of the office. We always have, and I think we've been encouraged to actually go out and meet people where you just get exposed and be more comfortable with the next challenge that you find.
What's been the hardest thing to learn?
Probably learning about the industry. As much as you do get more familiar with it, with more people you speak to, more articles you read, more trade shows you attend, dinners that we host, it takes time. No matter how much you do, it probably takes, I would say, a good year to really get comfortable and keep building on from that. So that probably took me a year to really understand a lot about it and get really comfortable with it. And I remember people's names and, what they do and, how everything connects. Learning about the industry is probably hard for everyone at the beginning, but it's also probably one of the most crucial things that we need to learn to be able to be successful in what we do.
Well, you don't complete it, do you? I think that's one of the hardest things, but also potentially one of the more enjoyable.
Yep.
Even after 20 years working in recruitment, I still don't know everything. Every day is a school day. And there's always more to learn. Like you say, we'll go to the dinner tonight, which is our exec networking dinner, which is garden center specific today. And there's going to be some really good people in the room. And we don't want to be imposters. We don't want to project and pretend we know more than we say we do, but we're there to learn. And it's evident that every time you have the conversations with clients, it's almost like the more you talk to these people, the less you realize you actually know, which is what keeps it interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, to be able to have a terrific guest list like we do tonight, it speaks volumes of the business's reputation. The brand is it's out there and, people know about us, and we must do something really well, even for want to socialize with us, which is quite nice. And those are the places, I think, when you can learn a lot, because you really speak to people who are day and night really, really embrace and breathe garden centers and understand, the frustrations firsthand, and what do they think about the future and where garden centers were before COVID and what happened after COVID and what they are today. I would say it's very exciting, and yeah, we definitely keep learning.
Excitement you've mentioned, the nature of progression within recruitment you've talked about. Where's Michail going to be in 3 years' time?
Well, hopefully, still with the business. I have, I've always been very ambitious, and no matter what I do, I would like to do it really well, because otherwise it's probably not worth doing at all. With all the plans that we have in the business, and we spoke about growth and scalability a lot, I want to be here and really play a big part in the business of future and try to form the future, and put a bit of stamp.
Take garden centres to the next level.
Yeah, why not? Go internationally.
Why not? We'll try and make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Michail.
Thank you, Andy.